Stone quiet out here in eastern Wyoming, out on the Great Plains along the Nebraska South Dakota border. I have permission to hunt out here with on someone's land, and I drew an antelope tag out here instead of on my side of the state, the western side. So I'm looking forward to just endless big ranches all around me, and I'm hunting one ranch in the middle of it all with some BLM land attached to it and stuff. So should be beautiful out here. I've never hunted out on the Great Plains that I recall. I've hunted turkeys up in the Black Hills, not far from here. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Spike, and that's a little forky doe. A couple more does out there. Man, it's beautiful. Cattle all over those hills. I'm on the ranch now that I can hunt. It's a foggy morning. Hoping it burns off quickly. And it's very frosty. Should have covered my seat last night. Lots of snow and ice. Not snow, but ice and frost. Fun. Go look for antelope. Alright, it's 8:30. I'm all equipped. I should probably put bullets in my gun. Glad I thought of that. I think they're in the truck. And the fog's settling in deeper. It's already almost 9 o'clock. Me and the ranch owner have just been sitting here chatting all morning, waiting for the fog to burn off, but it's settling in. So I'm just gonna go roam around anyway. Maybe I'll bump into a buck. All the way here for 9 hours, I thought, I forgot something. I went to head out on the four-wheeler finally, and I thought, oh, I better check and see if bullets are in my magazine. I left my bullets at home. So I'm driving 2 hours to the nearest town to get bullets. Good thing I'm antelope hunting. Should be an easy hunt. Into the fog. So this little building out here, about 25 miles from the ranch I'm hunting, is the one-room schoolhouse that my co-worker who owns the ranch out there, she grew up in the 70s and 80s coming out here to this one-room schoolhouse 50 years ago. Kind of cool. Still standing there. And it's a beautiful day. All the fog burned off on my way to town to get bullets. Hopefully it'll be good hunting when I get back by about 11. Found the cheapest bullets I could find. Well, the only bullets I could find in town over there in Newcastle, Wyoming, at the Baumgars. They had two kinds. One looked like a totally generic brand. At least this is an old school brand that I usually use to sight in my gun. I think they're lead tips, but oh well. Only 150 grain, so my gun's sighted at 165 grain, which is all I use to shoot everything usually, so I don't have to keep redoing the gun over the season. Elk, deer, whatever, bear, antelope, but hopefully, I guess I'll just aim low. Does that sound right? Okay, let's get out there. The fog is burned off. It's almost noon. There's some antelope way out on that hill over there. I don't think I've spooked them. And there's a big buck bedded with a doe and then another good-sized buck up above him just standing there. So I'm gonna try and skirt around here and then sneak up and look. If I haven't spooked them, then I'm only 30 minutes into my hunt, but I knew it might be quick. There's cactus all through here. They do have rattlesnakes out here on the eastern side of Wyoming, out in the Great Plains. And so I asked how prevalent they are, and there's 6 hunters this past week in 7 days of hunting, 8 days. Saw one, and it was actually slithering away and rattling, which I've never heard of them slithering and rattling. I've never hunted somewhere where I hunted elk once in Arizona, and technically there was rattlers there. It was around the Grand Canyon outside the park, the National Forest, but I never saw it. Yeah, it's beautiful out here. You can see why some Native Americans thought these Great Plains and the Black Hills just north of us were the greatest place on earth. It's just beautiful, peaceful out there. So I think I'm gonna head for these little knobs here. There's a couple bushes on the top, and I think I can kneel down behind a bush, maybe get a shot. I just realized though, I left my hunting sticks on my floor. I did wear my tall leather boots, thinking if I got hit by a rattler, I've got 8 inches, maybe 10 from the ground up of leather. Hopefully they hit that. Otherwise, you're a quick 4-wheeler ride back to the house and a ride into town. Here's a bed. Okay. See that? Antelope bed, no doubt. I would assume. Usually there's 2 or 3. Oh, there's another one. So anyway, the first stalk. See what it yields. Both bucks look like bucks I'd shoot on my side of the state. Drive about an hour. We'll hunt for the day, sometimes multiple days, but it's so easy to get into antelope in Wyoming. Typically, there's some units where you really gotta walk and work, but I knew this might be easy, being private land where they really only get, well, this year nobody had a tag except me right here, so they're not getting pushed or chased by anybody. So here we come up to the lip. We'll get behind that rock right there in the bush. I should be just 150 or so yards, I'm guessing, from them. Oh yeah, there. So there's a buck. You can see him right there. All right. There was a pretty big buck with them. You can see it right there. Oops, sorry. And the other should be right nearby. So there he is right there walking. One of the bucks. Okay, now both bucks are up. If I had a spotting scope, I'd dial them in a little bit better. Those bucks are, like I said, there they are. Oh, where are they? There's one. There's two. They're decent, but they're not the giants. Oh, there's the giant. Well, I couldn't film the shot, but the two smaller bucks, even though they're good size, are right. Hang on, I keep having trouble. Right there. Where are they? Oh, there they go. They're running. There they are. They're running. And they just ran right past. You can see him. He's right there. The bigger buck is down. The first shot, it seemed to hit just slightly back, but again, these 150 grain bullets, I've never shot a 150 grain bullet, and I have this dialed 2 inches high at 100 yards with 165, so that I just have a nice, I just know exactly, I've done that for 20 years and I know exactly what to do with all my distances. I don't have fancy scopes or anything, just a 4 to 9 by 40, 4 to 9 by power. Anyway, I feel kind of dumb that I'm half hour into my hunt, but he's a good buck. It's kind of a bummer. He's right out there, but I think I'm just gonna walk down and grab the four-wheeler and just go right out to him. Actually, I'll go down that little road and kick straight up to him. Yeah, I can see him laying there. All right, back at the four-wheeler. And let's go see what we got. Antelope hunting is kind of funny because, I mean, I've had five hunts of mine that ended within the first hour. But I thought coming out over here, I'll really wait until I find the big antelope. But it's hard when you see a big game animal and to just pass on it when it's pretty good size. And this is my first big game animal this year, so after some close encounters bow hunting for elk earlier in September. I didn't realize this road was here, and I thought, oh, I can turn right up here and go look for him. And I think he's laying right on the road there. I didn't even see that. Almost too easy. Almost doesn't feel like hunting. Yeah, he's not the giant I thought he was. Not a giant. I didn't think he was a giant, but I thought he was good. But he's just a medium buck. That's kind of disappointing. Darn it, I've shot bigger than that. I should have waited. You get impatient. I'm sitting here looking at the buck on the horizon right there. And my buck. I think that's the buck I saw bedded up here further that looked really big. And I saw 2 other bucks at the time. Yeah, from down there, I think I saw him bedded with 2 other bucks, and then obviously a third. And when I saw those 2 other, when I snuck up and I saw those 2 other bucks, and then saw him, I thought he was the big daddy because he was bigger than those 2. But that guy's bigger than him. Dadgummit. That's the fun of hunting. Do you use up your 48 hours to just soak it all in, or see an animal in the first hour and take it? There's a big old group out there too. You can see them in the middle of the screen there, across that face. Bunch of does. And this big buck out here, right there, just going over the edge, or working its way down the edge. Blood turkey. I should have taken a little more time and scanned up and down the slope. Yeah, he's significantly bigger than this one on the ground. Yeah, way bigger. That's the one I saw that I thought, oh, that's that bigger class of antelope. So it's just slit along the belly and up each leg, and I'm just flipping it over, and I'll take one side of the meat and then I'll roll it over this way and take the hide back down off that way. And good, I'll take all the neck meat, front shoulder, loin, and then big old fly on it already. The rear ham, rear quarter, and I'll reach up in there and grab the little tenderloins off this. At some point I'll go up and get the heart out. The kill shot entered here and exited over there. He was facing away from me. Okay, got the front shoulder off. Drop this in the bag, get the back one off, drop that in the bag, and probably the loin, just do 1/2 in each bag. Just use 2 bags. Rear ham off, rear quarter, nice and clean. Almost 0 hair, just a few. That's why I like to peel that hide back. Drop this in the bag with the front shoulder. That's the neck roast. There's 1 on each side. You just get it as best you can. If you've never taken a neck roast, I'm just gonna lay that right there. If you've never taken a neck roast, I think it might be the best roast cut on an animal. There's that tube of loin right across the back. It's pretty tasty for steaks or roasts. Drop that in the bag and then roll it over and do the other side. Well, I'm done. 4 quarters in there, back straps in there. I was reaching in and get the tenderloin, and I'd reached in with my knife just to the end, and it hit the stomach and it ran all over both tenderloins. They're only like as big as this handlebar anyway, it seems like. About as big as that antler right there. So dang it. But took the head off, got it all cleaned up so I can just power wash it. And I think I'm gonna try and do my own Euro mount. I usually give it to guy to a beetle, but I don't know if he does it anymore. I think that's my 7th antelope. So there it is. So I didn't get the big old daddy that I envisioned, but he's a decent buck. Probably about, I think I've shot one a little taller, definitely a little wider. before, but he's, you know, that one up there I think is about this tall and maybe just slightly wider, but just a more mature buck. And when he was coming in, he came down towards me and he picked up a sagebrush and was just flinging it in the air. And so I think he was just feeling kind of like ready, like, what the heck's going on? Dadgummit. So I was down there, spotted him up here, and thought I only saw 3 with the big one up top. Snuck to that ridge there. Looked out across, saw the 2 smaller bucks standing, and then saw this guy and thought, oh, he's the big one. He came down below him, and lo and behold, that other one was up higher. Or oh well, it was fun. I got my meat, get my son's antelope back on our side of the state maybe Saturday, and then we like to make a bunch of spicy jerky out of it every year. And just have a whole year's supply of jerky in that corner of the freezer made out of the antelope. So. First hunt on the Great Plains. Pretty cool. Did you hear that elk? Yeah. Down there. You can hear sandhill cranes off this way. Yeah. Elk bugling off this way. There's elk down there in that bottom there. You can see them all. Right there. Cool.
Way off in the back, there's a lone bull coming in too.
Is there? Where's the water that you're talking about?
Oh, it pretty much follows the tree. I mean, it's just a tiny little stream. But a bunch of creeks.
Yeah. That's what I was hearing out on the state trust land.
That's crazy.
And I kept looking, trying to figure out where they were.
Oh, that lone bull coming in is that clubbed one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is he down there in the grass? Is that what you're talking about, or is he coming somewhere else?
He's straight above that one.
Huh.
Up on that little ridge.